All right, everybody. Welcome back here. Happy Thursday. So wonderful to see you all again.
But it's only Tuesday.
Oh, you're right, Tuesday. Oh boy. You kind of know what kind of day I'm having. Bit of a confusing
Really?
one. Happy Tuesday after a bit of a long weekend. All right, so we'll get going. Just a few quick reminders. Make sure you have a nice clear space to exercise in, nothing to step on or trip over. It's important to have a sturdy chair, right? Not a rolly chair. And then it's highly encouraged that you've got sturdy footwear or bare feet. Okay. We are going to use a resistance band and a weight today. If you have access to those items, remember for a weight, you can use whatever you have available to you. And then just remember to go at your own pace. That's super, super important. This is your exercise class. You are in control of your own intensity. So there's ways I'll try to remind you how to make it harder or easier so that it's challenging but doable. Okay. And we will go from there. Let's just start with our breathing pattern. It's always a good way to start off some exercise. So we're going to start with a breath in, fill up the belly. And then we're breathing out through pursed lips. We breathe in, fill up the belly, and out through pursed lips. Again, breathe in and breathe out through pursed lips. Once more, just like this, in, out through pursed lips. All right, we're going to maintain that pattern, but now we're going to add just a little bit of movement. I'm going to ask you to lift one heel at a time. And then again, we're breathing in and out through pursed lips. Good. Once more, breathe in, out through pursed lips. And then once more, breathe in, out through pursed lips. Okay, now keep up the breathing pattern. Keep up the heel lifting one at a time. And now we're going to add to our hands. We're just going to make either some figure eights, or you can just move your hands outwards and in, okay? So again, find that challenging but doable state where you are lifting one heel at a time. We're starting some figure eights, and we're maintaining our breathing pattern. Brilliant. Okay, so remember, as we start to move more limbs meaning arms and legs at the same time, the more oxygen is needed to complete these tasks, so it makes an exercise more intense. So again, you can always modify. Less limbs at a time will make it less intense. More limbs at a time will make this more intense. All right, let's start reaching across our body. And as I reach with my left, my right heel lifts. So again, if you are ready to increase the intensity, you can lift up your knee, because increasing the range of motion also makes it more intense. So if you needed to start increasing the challenge, otherwise, you can still keep just lifting up the heel. This is a lesser range of motion. So it'll make it less challenging, less intense. So try to find what is challenging but doable for you and maintain that breathing pattern. Good. All right. And now we're going to rest the arms. We're going to put your feet a little further ahead of you so that we can lift up one foot at a time, moving from the toes. So it's like we're tapping our foot to the music. Okay. We lift up our toes, put them back down. And you should start to feel the muscle at the front of your shin or lower leg. We are working that tibialis anterior. Okay, and as we start tapping our foot, we're going to get ready to work our arms. And we are just going to push one arm forward at a time. And we're moving the same arm, same foot at the same time here. Good. If you're just starting out with exercise classes, or if you're having a flare-up day, or just really low energy, okay, you're welcome to do just 10 of whatever we do and then rest the rest of the time. So you got to take charge of what is challenging but doable for you. So we're lifting our toes, pushing a hand out, and we're going to change up our arm movement in 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to move our opposite arm out to the side as we lift up our toes, bring it back in. Arm moves out to the side, opposite toes come up, bring it back in. And again, one way to start to increase the challenge here now is by pulling your foot back underneath you. So taking that bit of a step is a larger range of motion, starting to increase the intensity. If you are not ready to increase the intensity, that's okay. You're just going to keep lifting up the toes as we move that arm out. Remember that breathing pattern. We're still conscious of breathing in and exhaling through pursed lips. Pretend you've got that straw there. We're exhaling out through that straw. There we go. And 3, 2, 1, and rest. Bring your feet a little bit more underneath you. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to encourage you to pull up your knee and turn your foot. It's like we're going to put on our shoes, but I don't want us bending forward. We're just lifting that foot up, rotating it, and then put it back down. So it's a lift up and rotate and back down. Now, again, the higher you lift your leg, the more intense it's going to be. You can lift up just a wee bit. Okay. You can think about just stepping your foot inwards. So we're not actually lifting your foot up off the ground. That's going to be less intense. Otherwise, we can lift and rotate that foot in. Good. Then let's start focusing on bending our opposite elbow, if you can, as we pull that leg up. Good. So pull that leg up, bend the elbow. Pull the leg up, bend the elbow. Oh, and remember your breathing pattern. So we're still exhaling through pursed lips as we move. Good. Remember, you can do just 10 and then rest if we're just starting out. You got to listen to your body. I see some of you starting to increase the speed a little bit, which is going to increase the intensity. Some of us still need to move a bit slower because this is what a good intensity for us today. So this is the best part, is we can all move at kind of a slightly different level, and we can all get a good exercise session today, whether this is our 200th class or our second class. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of footwork. So that little bit of coordination, we've done it before with our arms moving in different positions. Keep doing some work. So what's going to happen is everyone's left foot steps forward and back. Forward and back. So just get into this movement to start. That left foot steps forward and back. Remember, if you're choosing to stand, just
have balance support within grabbing.
Our left foot steps forward and back. And now our right foot steps out to the side. So now get right foot stepping out to the side, back in, out to the side, back in. And then we're going to put it all together. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, left foot forwards, back, right foot out, in. Left foot forward, back, right foot out, in. Forward, back, out, in. Forward, back, out, in. Again, you are in control of the intensity. You're in control of the speed. Okay, as soon as you start feeling more confident, starting to get a bit easier, feel free to start to speed it up a little bit. Maintain your breathing pattern. And while some of you start going, increasing the intensity, some of us have the intensity lower because this is what is best for our bodies today. So really pay attention to what do you need. And we're going to switch what each foot is doing in 3, 2, 1. Now the right foot goes forward and back. The left foot goes out and in. Forward, back, out, in. Forward, back, out, in. Again, some of you are feeling really great. You're picking this up quick. You have started to increase the intensity for yourselves, which is great. And some of us need to keep the intensity lower, build up some success, feel really good about what we are doing today. Remember to maintain your breathing pattern. We're going to keep breathing out through pursed lips. That's going to help us with feeling short of breath. Good. And we're going to change up the pattern a little bit in 3, 2, 1, rest. Perfect. Okay. So now it's the same thing, but we're going to alternate. Forwards, back, wide, in. Then that same foot goes forward, back, switch, out, in. Forwards, back, out, in. Forwards, back, out, in. Good. So now we are alternating what our feet do. Forwards, back, out, in. 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 There we go, team. So again, as soon as you start feeling more confident, you can increase the intensity a little bit. Maybe we get our arms moving as well. Maybe that completely throws you off and you need to keep your arms still. Okay, there we go. So keep up the breathing pattern as we go. Good. And 3, 2, 1, rest. Brilliant. All right, team. We're going to do a couple of cardio intervals. Again, it's going to be 1 minute of work, 30 seconds of rest. Maybe you need to just work for 30 seconds, rest for a minute. But that first goal would be to just continue a movement for a minute. And then we start thinking about increasing the intensity. So if you can continuously move for a minute, now I'm going to ask you to think about trying to get yourself a little bit huffing and puffing. Okay. And that will be our cardio interval. So we're going to start pretty simple. We're going to just march for 1 minute. Now, we can go ahead and start, and I'll show you some different ways to adjust this. Okay. So if you're looking to decrease the intensity, I'm going to start really low intensity. Maybe we're decreasing the amount of limbs and decreasing the range of motion. So maybe all I do for a minute is lift one heel at a time. Maybe I add in some arms to increase the intensity. Or I can rest the arms and now lift up. Range of motion, I'm increasing the intensity. If I add in the arms too, that's increasing the intensity. If I lift the arm up in the air, that's going to increase the intensity. And then you look at the speed. Maybe we go fast with less range. Okay, so there's a whole range of movement that you can do to make this whatever is best for you today. Make it challenging, but doable for yourself. We've only got about 10 seconds left of this movement. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we rest for 30 seconds. Quick reminders about our recovery position. So we can bend forward, forearms or hands over top of our thighs. We keep the chest up. This will help you catch your breath more easily. Okay. Brilliant. Next, we're going to do some shadow boxing. So we're going to get our arms ready, and you're going to punch out in front of you. Now there's two ways, because we're not going to increase number of limbs. We're going to work just the arms, and the timer starts now. You can punch with purpose. Really feel like you are punching out in front of you. Okay, then you can increase the speed to increase the intensity. You can add in your band. You could put the band around your back and push out against the band, or you can increase punching with purpose and speed to increase the intensity. So find that challenging but doable range for you. You are halfway through. Do what you can here. The goal is to first keep moving for 1 minute, however that looks to you. Keep up your breathing pattern. Super, super important that we're breathing out through pursed lips. 10 seconds left before we rest. 3, 2, 1, we rest. So maybe we find that recovery position. Once again, remember, you are here just for yourself today. So just think about what you need, what your body needs today. We're not trying to keep up with anybody else. So find whatever your challenging but doable point is, okay? Next, we're going to stand inside an invisible box, and then we're going to step outside of that invisible box before we step back in. Maybe we move just the legs and start. So we're stepping out of the invisible box and back in. The more quickly you move, the more intense it is. The higher you lift your legs out of that box, the more intense it is. And you can always add in your arms as well to increase the intensity. So step out of the box, into the box, out of the box, into the box. Find your challenging but doable zone. There we go, everybody. Excellent work. Keep breathing out through pursed lips. Good. Step out and in. Out of the box, into the box. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Whew. Boy, this is getting fun. Remember that recovery position? Remember, if you're huffing and puffing, we still create that pursed lip mouth position. And then we slowly start to slow down our breathing. Okay. Reduce that breathlessness. We're going to do just 2 more intervals, everybody. All right. The next thing we're going to do is we're just going to step out to the side and reach our arm to the opposite side. Okay. So you can kind of lift that leg or step that leg. Okay. We're starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So maintain that breathing pattern. Again, maybe you're moving just your arm. Okay, a good way to reduce the intensity, whatever your challenging but doable is. Excellent. Keep up your breathing pattern, everybody. Excellent job. You're past the halfway point. Ten seconds, everybody. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Good. So move into that recovery position. Brilliant. So again, we're going to do just 1 more cardio interval, then we'll have a longer rest, and then we'll start getting into some more strengthening exercises, okay? So for our last cardio interval today, I'm just going to ask that you either lift and lower your heels, but bounce them, okay? Or you can do this with your 1 foot at a time. So you kind of just bounce your feet. If you're choosing to stand, please hold on. Have something within grabbing distance. Okay, we're starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So again, maybe you are just bouncing your heels. Maybe you're able to kind of bounce 1 foot at a time. And then just a quick reminder for everybody while we do this, this is a virtual recorded class, so any noise on your end, we can all hear. So if there is any noise, I just ask you to please mute yourself. Okay. Good. So we're just about halfway, team. So do what you can. Maybe you can bounce those feet. Maybe you can just bounce those heels. Okay. There we go. Got about 20 seconds left. Keep up your breathing pattern. Good. Keep breathing out through pursed lips. And 3, 2, 1. Rest. Whew. That one kind of gets right into your hip flexors a little bit more, depending on your range. Get into a breathing pattern. And we're going to have a little bit longer of a rest here. So if you have questions about the exercises so far, now's a good time to ask. The exercises or how to adjust your intensity, now's a good time.
Jill,
Yes.
I don't know whether it's my hip flexors or not, but at the top of my thighs, right at the joint there, I get quite a bit of pain when I'm doing some of these exercises. And
yeah,
I'm just wondering if I need to do maybe more stretching, or in time, will it get better? And
yes and yes. So one thing to realize is when we are in this seated position, our hips are at 90 degrees. And when we lift beyond 90 degrees, those muscles that help us lift up our knees can get quite fatigued. It's equivalent to lifting your leg past this point.
Yes,
It's hard.
yes.
So I'll make sure we do this stretch together today where we drop our leg down. That gets a good stretch throughout. You can use your rolling pins at home to kind of massage out the top of your thigh. Just making sure you don't roll your kneecap because it can shift on you and that hurts. Don't do it. But one thing I also recommend to people is sitting on something. So if you sit on, a folded towel or a pillow and it just elevates you a little bit, then rather than lifting from 90 above, you usually start, I'll use this as an example. Just as an example, if you can sit on something, a cushion, well, now I'm lifting my leg up to 90 rather than past 90.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully everyone finds that a wee bit helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
In between exercise days and that, should I be doing some extra stretching there?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, can definitely help. And then I would also get you guys practicing. Hold on to table or chair and practice lifting up your knees because this is from a different range. So it's not overworking it, but it's going to help those muscles get stronger.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Always happy to help. But from here, I'm going to ask you all to grab your stretchy band. And if you don't have a stretchy band, that's okay. You'll still be able to follow along with some of the movements. And if you don't have a stretchy band, you can always use something like a belt or a strap. The strap or belt isn't going to move with you, but you can create a little bit of resistance. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the strap underneath our foot, just one foot. You're going to sit at the back of your chair. You can even lean back a little bit. And all we're going to do here, I'm going to pull the band towards my chest. And again, you can always wrap the band around your palm once or twice so that you don't have to grip it as tightly. And all we're going to do is we're going to lift the knee and then push it back down. So we should be pushing down against resistance. So pushing down against the band. And if you don't have a band, you can push against some sort of strap or just push your foot into the ground. So you can just hold your foot down, push your foot in the ground, hold 2, 3, and then relax, and then do it again. So with the band, we're going to push down. You can push it all the way down to the ground and push into the ground before coming back up. But we're stepping, pushing our foot down against the band, and then back up. Pushing against the band. You can even push against the ground once you get to the bottom. Back up. We're going to do a couple more. Our goal is about 10 per leg. If you do a little bit less because that's what you need, great. If you do a bit more because that's what you need, great. Remember, it's helpful to exhale on exertion. So the exertion here would be pushing your foot down. Try breathing out as you do that. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, relax. Change legs. And again, if holding the band up to the chest is really fatiguing, you can always hold the band just a little bit lower to create more resistance and have your arms straight down. Okay, so there are different ways to hold this. Again, once you get to the bottom, maybe try pushing your heel into the ground. Good. Excellent. Push. Breathe out on exertion. Everyone goes at their own pace. Well done, everybody. Excellent, excellent job. Last couple reps here. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Awesome. So now we're going to have the band underneath both feet. Okay. If you don't have a stretchy band, use your weight in one hand and lean forward. And we're just going to pull our hands up. So you can do this with a weight. With the band, your feet are a little bit out in front of you. I'd encourage you to have your toes up. Helps keep the band in place. And all we're going to do here is pull our hands towards our chest and think about gently trying to squeeze our shoulder blades together. Then with control, we're going to bring our arms back. So pull and then bring hands back. You can hold lower on the band to increase the resistance, and that's going to make it more challenging. But I'd like everyone to be kind of slow and controlled in these movements. So if you want it more intense, think more about increasing the resistance. Good. So think about pulling and then lowering 2, 3, nice and controlled. Pull and then lower 2, 3. Think about driving your elbows back behind you, because this is a row and not a bicep curl. So we're not looking to bend the elbows, pull our hands up. We're looking to pull our elbows back towards our sides. Pull, then down 2, 3. Pull, 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 down 2, 3. Last one. Pull, down 2, 3. And you can relax that band. Good. Okay, so we're just going to put the band to the side. Maybe shake out your hands a little bit. And now I'm going to ask you to grab your weight, whatever it is you're using for a weight. I've got a dumbbell here. Perfect. Okay, we're going to do some bicep curls now. So you can either hold the weight with both hands, which is going to decrease the resistance, right? It's easier when both hands work together to lift the weight, slowly lower back down. If you want to make this more challenging, we're going to hold the weight in one hand. Okay, so I've shown you both ways. Please choose what is best for your body. And then we're going to slowly bend the elbow and then back down 2, 3. Bend the elbow, down 2, 3. You'll notice I am rotating my hand if you are using one hand. So my palm is facing my thigh, and then I turn the palm to face forwards as I lift it up. And that just gets a little more range of motion, which can be better for building strength. So we're nice and controlled here. And one of the best ways to increase the challenge is to really get your muscle working harder by pretending the weight is heavier than it is. So if you're feeling pretty good, pretend that weight is 100 pounds and really fight to lift that 100-pound weight and then slowly lower it back down. If you increase the struggle for yourself, we're going to get more muscle activation. So we're using more of the muscle, and that's going to have a positive effect on building strength. Got one more. If you're using just the one hand, down, 2, 3, and we're going to change. So again, on the other side, I'd like you to try that. Just lift it like you're just lifting a weight. Bicep curl, down, 2, 3, and then try a couple where you're pretending it's 100 pounds. We squeeze it hard. We're struggling to lift it because it's so heavy. And then down, 2, 3. And then lift, and we're struggling to lift it because it's 100 pounds. Down, 2, 3. And I want you to feel, did you feel a difference? Was there a difference in the challenge of that bicep curl? And we did not increase or decrease the weight. We just changed our intention with how we lift it. And there's a range, right? You can struggle a little bit because you're not ready to maximally pretend to lift that weight. It's a whole range you can work on. We've got 3 more like this. So we pull, bicep curl, down, 2, 3, pull, bicep curl, down, 2, 3, and then last one, curl, down, 2, 3, and rest. Good. Our last exercise in this strength sequence is going to be a type of sit to stand. Just a warning. You can use your weight to increase the challenge, or you can keep the weight to the side, down to the side, okay? Good. So remember 2 key things we're going to focus on by standing up. And if you're staying seated, it's as you push your feet into the ground. We still focus on these things. Glutes tightening. So we talked about that silly imagery of crushing a walnut between your bum cheeks. Helps you learn how to engage your glutes. Okay, and we're going to push through our feet. Okay, our goal is 10. You do what you can. Ready? And we're going to push through our feet and squeeze our glutes to either stand up or stay seated. And you're pushing your feet in the ground. And our goal is 10. So can we push up, breathe out, and then down, 2, 3. Push through your feet, squeeze your glutes, and down, 2, 3. Push through your feet, squeeze your glutes, down, 2, 3. Well done, team. Push through your feet, squeeze your glutes, down, 2, 3. And push, down, 2, 3. And push, down, 2, 3. Anyone know what number we're at?
8.
8. Thank you. 2 more, team, if you can. Push through your feet. Down, 2, 3. And then if you can, last one, we push through the feet, squeeze those glutes. Down, 2, 3. Put the weight to the side. We're going to have a rest. And then we're going to repeat. So if you have any questions about those 4 exercises or about intensity, if something doesn't feel quite right for your body, Now's a perfect time to ask.
I found when we did that last exercise of the sit to stand that as I was lowering my body to the chair, I felt a sort of a tightness behind the back of my knee, like the upper part of the calf behind the knee. Is that common?
That can be. What I'd get you to test is how far underneath you can you pull your foot without your heel lifting? So that's just a
Okay.
quick test of, and everyone can try this. How far can you slide your foot underneath you without any part of your foot lifting? The whole foot must stay in contact. And if you try that and it feels really tight, or if you can't get very far, that would tell me that your calf is very tight and it's limiting that movement, because the ability to pull, have the knee travel forwards, helps us stand up and sit down. So how is that movement? Does that feel really tight when you try to pull your foot underneath you?
How far underneath me? Like,
How far can it go?
okay,
And
I
use
can work on that.
So use your knee as a reference point. If you can see my leg here, I can get my full foot pretty much behind my knee. Does that make sense to everybody? If I were to draw a line from the end of my kneecap down, my full foot is behind that knee. Does that make sense?
Okay, I
So
can see now.
yeah, so my flexibility of my ankle is good. If you cannot get it very far, let's say you get just your midfoot behind the knee, that would tell me, and it's a bit tight, that would tell me that your ankle's ability to move is limiting that sit down, because as I go to sit down, my knee has to travel forwards. So if it's tight and limiting, it'll hurt and it'll feel like you can't get into that movement. So what I'd encourage you to do is drop your hips back, and we'll work on that mobility. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
You are so welcome.
Jill, just there was somebody had commented in the chat earlier, but
Okay.
it says having trouble with the coordination of the breathing and the exercises. So just an FYI for you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the most challenging things for anybody. Anybody, whether you have a lung condition or not, coordinating our breathing and getting and building the habit of our breathing pattern is hard. It is challenging. I work with young athletes, ages 6 to 18, and a lot of them struggle. They get those like cramps or stitches at their collarbone or at their ribs. And that's actually from a poor breathing pattern, because they breathe. So they get those cramping and what they call stitches around their collarbone and ribs. And it's just a poor breathing. So we work on our breathing pattern here. Fill up the belly, breathe deeply. I get kids as young as 6 working on that. And it helps my young athletes with asthma, helps reduce those symptoms and stuff as well. So no matter what state you're in, that's a challenging thing. I can fully appreciate that. Again, the 2 key tips are get into your breathing pattern first, and then you can reduce the challenge of the movement. So maybe every time you stand up, it's too challenging to do without holding your breath. Okay, back it off. Stay seated. Focus on breathing out as you push your feet in, breathe in as you rock back. So reduce the complexity. And remembering exertion, exhale, exertion, exhale. If we stand up, that's our exertion part. Try to get your exhale out on that part, okay? So let's try it together because we're going to repeat. The first strength exercise we did had the band underneath one foot. Remember, you can pull it up, you can hold lower and have your arms straight down, but this is our lift your foot and slowly slam on the gas exercise. So let's do it together, where we're going to focus on breathing out as we push down, breathe in as we lift up. Some of you, that's too long of a time for your inhale and exhale. So your goal is to do a full breath cycle as you lift up, and then a full breath cycle as you push down. Does that make sense? So you might have to inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay. Otherwise, you can breathe out on the exhale on the exertion, pushing the leg down, breathe in as you lift it back up. And again, practice, practice, practice. Because to have the most success with your breathing, improving your lung function and capacity, reducing your feelings of shortness of breath, you must build the habit of relying on your breathing pattern, even when you are not thinking about it during exercise class. Okay? Anytime you're walking from living room to kitchen, you get short of breath. Are you focusing on your breathing pattern? Are you focusing on that pursed lip exhale? Are you breathing out as you take a step up the stairs? Because stairs are usually a really tough one for people. And let's switch legs. So first we practice the ability to do our breathing pattern, because it is a skill. And we practice our habit to do it no matter what we're doing. Be patient with yourself. It will come. Keep working at it. Don't get discouraged. Press that foot down. Again, attempt to exhale as you push down. Good. Okay, and let's do 3 more here. Breathe out as you push down. 2 and 1. Now we're going to get both feet, the resistance band underneath both feet, or you're holding a weight, and we're going to pull our elbows back. So pull the band towards your chest. Once again, ready to exhale? We're going to pull and exhale. Pull, breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Again, your timing of the pattern is going to be different. Some of you are going to be able to do a nice slow breathe in, nice slow exhale. Some of you are not going to be able to maintain that. That's okay. Do what you can do. And we're going to do 5. Breathe in. 4. Breathe in. 3. Breathe in. 2. Breathe in. And 1. Okay, relax the arms, relax the hands. Get your feet off the band and put the band to the side. Now we've got our bicep curls. Okay, so we got the weight down by our side. We're going to slowly curl that weight up and lower down to 3. Curl, breathe out, down to 3. Curl, breathe out, down, 2, 3. Curl, down, 2, 3. So get into that breathing pattern. And everyone's breathing pattern is a touch different on the timing. That's 5. We got 5 more. Breathe out. Breathe out. Down, 2, 3. Breathe out and curl. 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 Down, 2, 3. Last one. Breathe out and lower. 2, 3. Switch arms. And we're going to curl. Remember, the more effort you put into this movement, the more challenging it's going to be. So find that challenging but doable part for yourself. Pull. Down, 2, 3. Pull. Down, 2, 3. Pull. Great work, everybody. And we've got 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Down, 2, 3. All right, lower. Actually, you can use the weight for your sit to stands, or not, whatever is challenging but doable. Let's see if we can do 10. Last time. If you can't, that's okay. You're not ready yet. Do what you can, and up. Down, 2, 3. Maybe you stay seated and just push your feet into the ground and then relax. That's awesome. Push your feet into the ground. We call these seated sit to stands. Maybe you're able to get part way up and then come back down. Find what is challenging but doable for you. Excellent job, team. Remember to breathe out as you stand up. Remember, we're trying to squeeze our glutes to get ourselves up. Got about 3 more. 2, and 1. Excellent. Great job, team. You can put the weight to the side. Maybe you need that recovery position first. Okay. Going to encourage you to either drop a foot back. You can turn sideways in your seat to do the same thing. Or look and just get a little bit of a stretch at the top of the front of the hip. And we're going to get into a cool down and stretch time, team. Well done. Did awesome today. Remember, this is the perfect time for more questions, comments, concerns. And switch sides. Yeah, how'd it go today, gang?
It's a great workout.
Oh, brilliant. I'm glad to hear it.
Jill, I have a question.
Sure.
These exercises are to help us improve our breathing. I understand, but how does this help me, like in tomorrow breathing?
You know, that's a great question. Short term. So exercise is a longer term investment. So you can see improvements in as little as 2 weeks. Often a good range is 6 to 12 weeks to see significant improvement. But what you can take into account for tomorrow, let's just switch what our legs do and stretch leg out, slightly lean forward towards your toes. What you can do for tomorrow is focus on your breathing pattern. Build the habit. We've just practiced the habit. We've challenged your breathing and your muscles a bit today. Tomorrow, take 1 minute, 1 minute of time, and focus on your deeper, slower breathing.
Thanks.
Filling up the belly. Practice breathing out through pursed lips. Okay. But the actual, what we call physiological, which has to do with bodily processes, physiological improvements won't happen by tomorrow.
Down.
I know it takes consistent effort. Consistent effort. Switch sides.
Can I just add to that, Jill, for just 1 sec?
Of course you can.
I went to for my lung function test last year, and he was surprised because I had improved, and I'm a year older, so
There you go.
he didn't expect that, and he asked me what I was doing, so I told him. So he was quite impressed. So
Well done.
it proved to me that this works.
Yep.
For sure.
Absolutely. And you know, that is so wonderful. I'm so happy for you and so proud of you because it's consistent effort on your part. But that's also the funny thing about exercise. Exercise is something you work at, and it doesn't really ever get easier by itself.
No.
Right? Like if you think of a rating of 0 to 10 and you consistently give your 7 or 8 out of 10 effort, well, it's a reference point, isn't it? You don't just cap out at your 10, it improves.
Yeah.
So you're still working really hard and you're going, why isn't this easier? Well, your ability to work hard has improved. Your capacity has improved, but then to see the objective measurements, right?
Yeah.
I even get people to think of things in their day-to-day. The people will say, you know, I found it a lot easier. I used to have to stop twice going up my stairs, and now I'm able to just walk up the whole set of stairs without resting. You can pull up that elbow as well to stretch, gang. So that's so great that you saw an improvement in your clinical pulmonary test.
Yeah, it was.
Well done.
Thanks.
Fuck is that noise? Sorry.
Pardon? Oh. Feel free to switch arms, team. I did notice there's just a couple more comments in the chat I want to make sure I respond to by the end of class. So Maureen did put in the betterbreathers@bclung.ca email, so you can always message in if you got questions. There we go. And someone had a good question about exercises every day. So when we talk about improving capacities, some movement every day is great. If you find yourself working really hard in these classes and they're really tiring, it's probably not something you can do every day if you're putting in the right effort, because our bodies do need recovery. Sometimes a little bit of exercise can cause just a small flare up, because that's how capacities build. And again, just small. If it's becoming a big thing, okay, we worked too hard, we did too much, but a little bit. But I would encourage you to pick one thing to practice every day. Maybe that for you is 10 sit to stands. Maybe it's walking to your mailbox and back. Find something that's a little bit challenging but doable and practice it every day. Some people get to the point where they're doing these classes, because of course you can access the recorded videos. They're doing these classes 5 days a week. Great. Some people have been going for 2 years and still aren't at that point. That's okay too. But some movement every day is super beneficial. But again, you got to be realistic and consistent. So if you're going to go really hard for 5 days and then you're going to have to take 2 weeks off, well, that's not doing you any good. Okay, better to find what you can be consistent at. So I'm going to encourage us to take a deep breath in. I do see 2 more things popped into the chat. I'll answer that before we go today. But take a breath in and slowly breathe out. Okay, we're going to do it once more. Do whatever you would like with your hands. Breathe in and out. And shake out your hands. You guys worked super hard today. Did really, really well. So great to have you here. Oh yeah, so someone asked about getting